Have you ever felt that you wanted to make something that was really, really different with one of your molds, different to what other people are making? Well, I'm going to show you how, and I'm also going to show you how you can do this fairly quickly and save yourself a lot of resin. This is a new mold by Let's Resin. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's a dragon sitting on a clear ball. And they've brought out some great molds sitting on clear balls recently, and I've used some of them. I've just got hold of this one, and I'm really looking forward to showing you how to turn this into a great shaker. I think it's going to look amazing when it's finished. I'm going to be using the chameleon powders by Let's Resin to colour the dragon, and I'm also going to be using the metallic powders by Let's Resin as well to colour this dragon. What you need to be aware of is there's some quite intricate pieces in this here up near the horns. So be sure when we get to that part, I'll show you how to make sure that you've not got any gaps or anything in that when you put your resin in. So I'm going to be using a mixture of galaxy and blue for the actual dragon and the gold for some highlights. I'm using a brush to put this in, and all I do is dip it into there like that, and then get my brush into all the pieces that I want covered. Now this is a bit fiddly. I'm not going to turn this mold inside out because I think if I turn it inside out, when I put it back in the right way, all it's going to do is pop a lot of this that I put on off, and I don't want that to happen. So now I've got my powders in there how I want them. What I need to do is clean up this whole part of this bowl, because if not, what'll happen is I'm not going to be able to see through it to create my actual shaker part to it. So what I've got is a baby wipe here, and I'm going round cleaning that all up so it's nice and clean and clear. And it's really worth taking the time to do this and get it nice and clean. Then you'll get the best results from it. So I've got my resin mixed up now, and what I'm going to do is pour this in, but I'm only going to pour in a little bit to start with, and that way I can do some squidgy widgying around here in all these bits, and hopefully that will get into all the areas I need it to get into. Then I'm going to pour in a little bit more and do the same again. And now what I'm going to do is fill this right up to the edge of the dragon body and its front feet. I've not added any colour to this because I want it to be clear, because when I add the clear in here, I don't want to have to make the tail look really, really different. So there we go. I've got that so it's covering over the actual front feet. And now what we'll do is we'll leave this to cure. I'll go in there with a long neck lighter in a minute and burst off any bubbles that have come up to the top. And then once that's cured, we can then get on to doing this piece here and turning that into a shaker. Well, this is all cured now and ready to do the part in there where we're going to make the shaker. What I've got here is a sphere mold, and I'm going to turn it inside out so it doesn't get an odd shape to it. Make sure it's clean. But before I use that, what I'm going to do is pour some resin in here like that, and then this is where I'm going to add the sphere. Now this will float if you're not careful and move around, so you need to put some weight in it. I'm using these little glass beads. They're less messy than sand. So now I've got that filled up, what I can do is pour my resin down the side and pour it down slowly so you don't add any additional bubbles to it. And this is really important. Don't be tempted to fill this right up, because we need to be able to seal this and then cap it off with resin at the end when it's all cured. So don't fill this part here right up, and try and keep it as central as possible. But that is going to be enough resin in there for me. Actually, I could probably put a bit more in there. Yep, that's going to be plenty. Now I'm going to try and centralize that up now, and then leave that like that to cure. So this is all nice and cured now, and what I need to do is take these beads out, and they should just fall out here, and they would normally if I hadn't dropped a bit of UV resin in there and glued them together. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem once I get the first few out. And now they're out, I can take out my centre bit, and that is giving me a really nice dome in there. Look at that. And that's going to make the shaker part. And we need a piece of acetate to do that with as well. And I'm going to cut that into a rough circle. And that needs to fit on the top there, covering the whole thing. Yep, and that does. And before we use this, what I want to do is give this a quick clean with some 99% alcohol to make sure that it's lovely and clean and it's going to get a really good bond. And now we need to fill this ready to make the shaker. Now I normally use baby oil, but I haven't got enough today. So what I'm going to be using is a mixture of tap water and some glycerin, just to give it that little bit more of a thickness to it. And when I'm making shakers, I'd give you a word of advice, less is more. I used to make shakers, I used to put so much glitter in them that you actually couldn't see it shake. And I tend to use larger things as well. So not the ultra fine glitter. So for example, in here I've got some silver stars. They're a nice size. I've also got some gold stars, which are larger. And I've also got this little bottle of larger glitter as well. And that is going to be enough for me. I'm not putting any more than that in there. I might put a little bit more glitter in. I do always overdo it. I know I'm probably putting too much in, but I'm going to put a bit more glitter in. There we go. That's it. I've got my water. And I've got my glycerin. I'm going to pour some of that in there. That'll help thicken that up. Give that a good mix. And now pour that in there without getting any on the edge. You want to completely avoid getting any on the edge. And now what I'm also going to do is give that a stir and try and get the ones that are stuck to the edge off as well. And now I'm going to fill it as close to that top as I possibly can, because I don't want any air in there if I can avoid it. But I will get some. There is no doubt about it. I always get a tiny bit of trapped air in there. And this is where I take my UV resin and I put this all the way around the edge, avoiding getting it in the water. And now we can pop a little circle on like that. See, there is some trapped air in there, and push that into that UV resin. And now cure it up for 3 minutes. Now that should all be cured, but what I want to do is make sure that there's no leaks in that. And there is a little leak in it. So what I'm going to do is just go round that edge again with some UV resin after I've dried it. So now that's all sealed. There's no water coming out of that from anywhere, and I can now fill this up with the final pour. And I'm going to be using a clear resin again for the final pour on this. So I'm ready to pour my resin in there now. Now I know it's completely leak free. I'm going to pour it slowly. Try and avoid as many bubbles as possible. And now what I'll do is I'll leave that to cure up, and then I can demold it and show you what it looks like. Well, this is all lovely and cured now, and look at that. None of it leaked. And you would hardly know that we've put a little bit of plastic in there either. So now we can take it out of its mold. You will get a little line where you've topped it up, but that's not a problem, and you can even do that in a different color. Now you would have probably thought this is going to be difficult to get out, but it's not actually. It's really quite easy so far to get out. And when you're pulling out a big mold like this, always do it slowly and gently, because the last thing you want to do is damage your mold. Oh, look at the squidgy widgy, certainly paid off. We got every single one of those little bits there, and the wings. I love the colour. I think that's come out really well. And always remember to turn your mould inside out like this, back in the right way. And if you've got some, before you put it away, just give it a quick spray of mould release. I have got a whole video on how to take care of your moulds to make sure that you get a much longer life out of them, and you still get brilliant results for a lot longer. And I'll link that at the end of this video as well. So now we're done. So let's give it a shake. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm so pleased with the way that has come out. So easy to make these as well, and make shakers. It's so much easier than you would think. And when I display that, I'll display that on one of my little plinths that I make. These are so easy to make as well. And there's a members video out very soon on how to make these. And I'll display that on there like that. Really, really cute. So pleased with how that's come out. Wish I trapped a little less air in it, but that's okay. Next time I will make sure I don't trap as much air in it. That's why I like to have all different size things in there as well. It allows it to move around and you get all that really beautiful shapes. Too fine of glitter and you don't get the same results. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video as much as I've enjoyed making this. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out the video I've got coming up next. But most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.